much bigger threat to the men in blue. That's him! Kill the bastard with the video camera! Get him!
Alright guys, Rogue Nation back here with you. Holiday weekend, Sunday, and wanted to bring this story here to you folks. It's something I'd seen a couple days back, someone had brought to my attention, and it's a crazy story, what these cops are allowing to happen, and we're gonna watch some of the video. This is in South Florida, Deerfield Beach. I have reached out to the pastor, and I'm hoping to have him on to do a follow-up question and answer and see what's going on in this case since then. Now, this video was released by them on May 2nd of this year. So let's get into the video, guys.
Know that they're going to break into that portion of the gym, which they're allowed to do.
Mom, he's opening the door.
They're trying to take locks apart.
We're not gonna.
We don't want to leave it.
We want to leave it.
Who changed the locks?
Internal affairs told us to change the locks.
Stop.
Alright, this is important to know right here, guys. This isn't a matter for the courts, right? This is a matter for in-house Christian arbitration. And so the sheriff getting involved just totally blows my mind. Now, there's allegations, and they didn't come from anybody at the church, but I've been doing a little bit of digging, but there's allegations that these elders of the church might be friends with some of the officers, and that's why that it's being allowed to continue this way. But it's just an allegation. Nobody knows for sure. There's no hard evidence of that. Again, right now it's just something that's floating in the wind. We'll bring you updates if we find out definitively if that's the case. But as you'll see, these actions, I mean, they're just reprehensible. The sheriff's office is just lacking in so many areas. Let's continue.
So they filled me in on what happened on Sunday night. Their attorneys are on the phone. I'll tell you this right now, sir. I'm Deputy House, and this is Sergeant Patton from the Broward Sheriff's Office. With that being said, we do not enforce any civil litigation that goes on unless there's a criminal aspect to it. What's going on here, as far as I'm concerned, and it's, to my knowledge, is all civil. Okay? This is what happens when things don't settle well in court.
Right.
So what right do you have to come into this church and fire people? I'm just being blunt.
Yeah, that's fine, because we are the elders of the church.
This right here, sir, this paper, without a notary stamp or anything of official documentation, how am I supposed to know that you didn't just go on Microsoft Word and make this right now? I can get that off Google.
The two people that are listed on there are the elders of the church. As far as the hierarchy of the church,
When's the last time you came to this church?
it's been since
August?
it's probably, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. It's probably been about August, yeah. This is the Sunbiz document that shows that.
Once again, sir, this is a piece of paper that you printed, and you might, and I want to believe you,
Right.
off Sunbiz,
Right.
But how do I know that this is not made up off of?
That was filed with the.
That's fine. I can get that made.
It's important to note that that is true as well. So anybody could file anything on Sunbiz, right? They don't check the validity of it. It says so on the site. They say numerous times that the information that's filed there could be truthful, could not be truthful. So for anybody to use Sunbiz as an authority to enforce property rights is crazy. Let's keep going.
Deputy, Mr. Lund here is trespassing. I will let you in, but he is not to.
Okay.
So according to documentation that's been presented to me, it reflects that this gentleman is an elder of the church. Based on the information provided to me, unless somebody shows me something compelling to the contrary, which I've not seen yet, they are the elders of the church. Okay. Right now I'm operating what's on Sunbiz. He is the elder of the church. As far as law enforcement is concerned, he has a right to enter this church.
He doesn't.
He on Sunbiz is the elder of the church, period. So this as a business makes him the de facto CEO, CFO, whatever he wants to be.
But he fraudulently filed that.
So you presented your case, okay? Now I'm telling you what the facts are. I'm simply here to keep the peace. We're having a conversation, right? But as far as law enforcement is concerned, he is the elder of the church. He is the de facto manager, owner of the church.
But he's
he can come in the church. As the elder of the church, if he chooses to fire an employee of the church, that's his prerogative. We'll deal with that then, okay? So this gentleman's going to come in here and he's going to do what he's legally entitled to do. So once he does that, I recommend that nobody obstructs him, because then law enforcement may have to get involved. This gentleman's the elder of the church. That's it.
So, and what you're saying on Sunbiz is also is right now being disputed.
Okay, ma'am. He's the elder of the church.
But you're making the judge.
All right. So anyway, the gentleman's going to come in here.
He's not a member of
along.
this
So,
church
right, he's the elder of the church.
No, he's not.
Well, that's what Sunbiz says. So, okay, I've said my piece. I've said what I had to say. Okay, let's move on from that. I don't need to hear about the lawsuits. Move on. I know about the lawsuits. Lawsuits are irrelevant to what we're dealing with right here, sir.
You know that the court has determined that it cannot decide who's in charge of this church right now. If you know about the lawsuits, you know about the order.
Okay, all right, moving forward.
So what I'm saying is it's not particularly fair to say that this gentleman, Tom Lund, is an elder when it's both disputed and the court has made an initial determination.
Okay, well, guess what? Sunbiz right now says he's the elder, so I'm going with Sunbiz. Right now, Tom and Jack, it says, are the elders of the church. So law enforcement, as an objective party, is here for a business dispute. We look at the facts on hand, the information we have, and the information reveals that these two gentlemen are currently, according to Sunbiz, the elders of the church.
You're using the word compelling. And when Sunbiz says that their documents are not to be used for validity, they do not verify the truth of them. How is that compelling?
That's the most compelling thing I have.
Also, he said that he's going to let Tom come in here and fire me if he desires to. Right. Apparently, what the courts say don't matter to the officers.
No, I don't have anything from a court. Show me a judge's signature on a document compelling something.
Okay. He said he can provide a copy of the order to you.
A judge's order that says what?
It says that this is a disputed issue of fact.
Okay, well, you know what? You know what might happen at best? Seriously, I'll tell you where I adapt and I adjust here, is maybe they both will have to be in the church together. But while it's in contention, then gee, everybody's going to have to figure out how to get along in this house of God, aren't they?
Let me circle back and look a little bit more and see what this guy is saying, trying to make sure I'm not missing anything that would ruin the big picture for us. I realize.
I sent you the thing. He said to let you know that based on the order, you cannot assume that Lund is an elder or a member based on the order from the court, the court's order.
Well, I'm not assuming anything, first of all. I don't make assumptions, I make presumptions. Based on the best information I have at hand. So until a judge presents me something definitive, and if it's not what he emailed me, until a judge says definitively, this is who will be the business arm of the church, this is who can be here, and this is who can't be, it's all up.
See, this is so crazy that this officer thinks that he can come into this church, which I believe is a 501c3 nonprofit, and dictate who is boss and who is not boss. The judge says it's up for dispute. It's up for dispute. They filed lawsuits. These elders filed lawsuits against the pastor and I believe the church, and they were dismissed. It says in the church bylaws, if you file a lawsuit, you're automatically terminated as a member. I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. It looks pretty clear to me. I don't know about anybody else out there, but from what I'm seeing, it definitely looks cut and dry. Filing documents on Sunbiz fraudulently doesn't give you the power. You know, that's ridiculous. So, I don't know what more can be said, but let's continue on. Let's see how these officers enforce their feelings. And it definitely seems like there's a buddy kind of relationship going on there. When when the officer stepped outside and he was talking about us, that definitely felt kind of buddyish, to me. Let's go on.
Up for grabs right now, and that's where the objective line is.
Saying that's out of the court's
Okay, well then it hasn't been determined yet.
And our bylaws determine it goes to Christian arbitration.
And it has not until whatever. So what's the equivalent of the ecclesiastical judge?
Christian arbitration.
Okay. So has it gone to arbitration yet?
They've refused to go.
Okay. Well, until that comes to fruition, that process, it's up for grabs. It's in the air.
Does everyone come in your church? Come on in.
on the way. Mom, he's opening the door.
They're trying to take locks apart. This has been going on for 2 hours, man, and nobody's responded. Yes, ma'am. He's now inside the location. Now he's just standing here looking.
He's not trespassing.
Okay. Can you call Sergeant Shonda Martin, please?
She's with internal affairs.
I am here because of that, sir.
Yeah.
I'm here to explain to you. They both have equal rights.
No,
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Sir, he has no right
I talked
here.
to Lieutenant Holmes, thank you, for ahead of Shonda Martin. Thank you. So with all due respect, sir, and I'm here to explain to you again, you both have equal rights to be in the sanctuary and in the offices.
He has no keys.
Right.
He has no keys, and he
Who
just
changed the locks?
I did.
Oh, okay. So after you left us, when we said everybody's got keys, everybody's equal access, you went unilaterally and changed the locks.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's
No. Internal affairs told us to change
at the
the
advice
laws.
of Sergeant. He left the church 7 months ago. The only reason he's here is because your captain forced me to give him access.
Listen.
Okay, he called and reported that the pastor might be in here with a gun.
Coming in, thank you.
See that officer right there pull his gun as he's going into the office? Because this church elder said that the pastor might be in there with a gun. First off, if he is, it's probably most likely legal. I'm willing to bet 100% if a pastor has a firearm here in Florida, it's probably going to be legal, right? I don't think there's any need to go in gun drawn if a pastor is at his church and he has a gun, right? Maybe he's got a concealed weapons permit. I don't know. I didn't ask Pastor Jeremy, but if he was, and if he did, I'm sure 100% that it would be totally legal, totally on the up and up. I don't see the pastor as being, someone that maybe shouldn't have a gun. I don't see him as maybe being a felon or being, violent criminal or something like that, right? So, yeah. So for the cop to go in there with his gun drawn is just really, I think, a little bit over the top. Not to mention, this tip is coming from this gentleman that's having issues with this guy. He would more than love, I'm sure, to see you go in there and have the pastor turn around or something with a phone in his hand and you, scared for your life, shoot him in the back 2 or 3 times, right? So I'm sure that, that never crossed the guy's mind while he's, tipping you off that the pastor's in there and he might have a gun, right? So let's go on.
That they're going to break into that portion of the gym, which they're allowed to do.
Well, who says they're allowed to do?
We're not interfering with what they're doing.
There's no need for you folks. We're not gonna.
We don't want to leave it. We want to leave it.
As we can see, they're taking the hinges off of a door, or attempting to. And I have asked the sheriff's office to stop it. The sheriff's office, based upon orders of Captain Hofstein, which are known and approved by the sheriff himself and the command staff, refusing to do anything.
This is the second time that we've seen in this video where they have caught the sheriff's office body cam being redacted. So make sure you guys go and make sure you listen to the parts that were redacted out of the body cam video, so you know what the sheriff's office thought was too sensitive to release to the public. All right, and this looks like it's one of the two.
So 911 will 100% be responded to, right? And no problem. And even if you call non-emergency, we're still coming, right? But I was just letting you know so that there's no confusion at all. So if you call, we're coming 100%. We'll make sure life and property is taken care of, and we'll document anything. And
well, it's your property. You can do whatever you want. Don't get me wrong. This is just advice. Right.
Alright guys, and this is the proper way to redress here, is to email the governor asking him for an FDLE investigation into the sheriff's office and their treatment of the church there at Deerfield Beach, because this is definitely not a state issue. The state should not be interjecting itself in between it. And even while these issues are up for debate, they definitely shouldn't be allowing property to be damaged, even if it is per se the person's property. When you have a dispute like this within a nonprofit, a church, you can't take any sides, right? So you can't say, yeah, this is your property, or yeah, this is your property. You could damage it if you want, or you could damage it if you want, or you know what I mean? Like, there's definitely not a way that you are allowed to do that. It's disgusting to watch. As you saw there, the officers were standing around, like literally standing around as these guys are taking the hinges off the door. And you know, telling them that they can do whatever they want on the property. It's their property, but it's not their property, right? And even if it is their property, it's in dispute, right? There hasn't been a ruling on it because these guys won't go to Christian arbitration, which is what the court, you know, said that they needed to do. So they can't just, like, you know, oh, well, we're just not going to go to Christian arbitration, and we'll leave this limbo and linger forever. You know, and while it's in limbo, we can just come around and smash windows and come in whenever we want, and, you know, pretty much do whatever we want and fire whoever we want. And I mean, what kind of logic is going on here? Who's in charge of the sheriff's office down there? It's just, I can't imagine anything other than some kind of friendship, maybe, that's being involved with something like this, because I don't know. I've never seen cops act this way on my behalf, you know, or pretty much anybody else's that they weren't friendly with, you know. I mean, they're literally standing there while these folks are breaking property. It's insane. It's insane. So this is the proper way to redress. You know, like I said, I'm going to try to get the pastor on and see what the updates are. I did talk with him today, so I do know that nothing has changed. They're still going through this behavior by the sheriff's office and the elders, but we're more concerned, at least I am, with the behavior of the sheriff's office, right? Because without the behavior of the sheriff's office, none of this could be happening, right? These folks, these elders, they should be locked up for destruction of property, even if it is their own own property. You can, in a 501c3, it's not their property, regardless of if they're an elder or not. It's not their property. It's the property of the corporation, the nonprofit corporation. It's all the property of the nonprofit corporation. It's not any single person's property, right? It's not the pastor's property. It's not the elder's property. It's not one member of the church's property. It's a nonprofit. It's property of, the board, obviously, is the one that's in charge of it. But it doesn't adhere to, one person. And even, with that being said, there's votes that's got to be taken on issues. You just can't go in and start firing people when they're under contract and this. I mean, this is just common sense. But as usual, we know that law enforcement doesn't use a lot of common sense, and they use a lot of feelings sometimes. And it looks like the feeling thinks he's right. This Captain Hofstein, Deerfield Beach Sheriff's Branch. So yeah, man. All right, guys, let your voice be known if you found this appalling, as I have, and let's see if we can get some redress. Let's see if we can help this church out, this pastor out, and get these guys, to leave them alone, stop harassing them. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you again.